Good evening. Nice to see nobody tonight. Everybody, good. Good to see everybody. Back up here doing our thing. We're going to get into our committee meetings this evening. We have two first readings, one second reading, no third we're pending. We'll go right into streets and drainage. Judy?
I'll call the committee meeting to order at 6:04. Resolution number 21R43, a resolution authorizing New Franklin to enter into an agreement with North Star Asphalt for the addition of certain roads to the New Franklin 2021 road paving project, and declaring that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon passage. And I don't, is Brian here? Brian, do you want to speak on that? I thought you walked in, but I wasn't sure.
Brian's not here.
Thank you. Take more than you to hide him. Do you want to speak on that, Brian? If not,
I was
sure.
reading my emails.
Well, what we're trying to do is take advantage of the pricing because the pricing right now for paving is, I won't say an all-time low, but it's certainly a lot lower than it's going to be a month or 2 or 3 years from now. So we did have a bid, and that bid's still honored. We extended it with some additional roads a couple weeks ago. We wanted to try to extend it a little bit further if we could. And we realized that a couple of the roads that were on our list are on the permissive list for Summit County. And that would include Hampshire and Comet. And we have sufficient funds available to us through those permissive funds to take advantage of these two roads. So we would be adding, we're asking council to approve adding the additional $344,365. We've had it confirmed through North Star that they'll honor the pricing, and eventually the city will have to pay the money. Will get reimbursed from the county.
Thank you.
No, actually, this will not be. Yeah, so this is not going to. This is going to be an advance. We're not getting any sense of from next year's funding. This is just basically separate funding. That permissive fund right now is in the range. It's about $500,000. We want to keep at least $200,000 in there because we got Cleveland Massillon coming up down the road. It's about $550 right now. So no, this won't impact next year's payment.
So West Comet from Manchester to South Main would be about $215,000.
Yes.
And then Hampshire Road, Comet to West Minnesota would be about $128,000.
Yes.
So that would still leave that budget left in.
Yes. And Green recently did Comet to Main Street. Am I right about that, Brian?
Yes.
Yeah. So that will continue that course,
So I'm assuming you'd like for us to pass this.
please.
Does anybody have any questions? Okay, I will close the meeting at 6:06.
All right. Thank you, Judy. Finance, Jim?
We'll open at 6:06 and all members present. Resolution 21R44. A resolution authorizing New Franklin to renew membership in the Public Entities Pool of Ohio (PEP) and to enter into an agreement with Summit Insurance Agency to be the local representative and the Burnham and Flower of Ohio as the member marketing and service, and with York Risk Pooling as the administrator and underwriter for the purpose of providing liability insurance and property damage coverage for New Franklin, and declaring that this resolution be effective immediately upon passage. This will run from July 1st of 2021 to 6/30 of 2022 for a year, and something that we pass every year, have to do. We did it last year in April 2020, and this year we're seeing a little bit of a price increase. The proposal is for $83,386. Which is about 14% increase over last year.
We were able to. We took that up with them, and we were able to get a reduction. I need to amend the amount. We got them to reduce to $81,001. I don't know why the $1, but they came down to $81,001. And their explanation was the prices go up. We do have a number of newer vehicles that we acquired. A lot of it with the CARES money, et cetera. So that was the explanation that we got back from them. That the fleet has been enhanced and the cost went up.
So it's mostly based on just, we have better vehicles and so it would cost more for crash fixing?
Yes.
Okay. All right, because I was going to ask if we should be worried about a, say, 14% increase come October for our employee benefits.
That's a good question. What, I'm not sure I understand.
Well, I'm just worried that, you know, come September, October, we're going to be looking at that big of an increase.
No, I don't, I'm not seeing any indication.
Okay,
No.
all right. I was just a little scared.
No,
So it
no.
isn't just an increase, it's an increase due to the fact we have newer vehicles.
Yes. Questions, comments?
I have one. Did you say 80,000?
81,000,
81,000.
81001.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we will ask to waive the 3 readings on this resolution as amended. And we will close finance at 6:08.
All right, thank you, Jim. Andy, community development.
I open community development at 6:08, resolution 21R42. Resolution authorizing New Franklin to enter into an agreement with Insight Advisory Group LLC for the management of the Manchester Road Corridor Master Planning Project, declaring that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon passage. We asked for time on this 2 weeks ago, and I'm assuming a lot of this is due to that, so.
Take it away.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm happy everybody's here, and I mean that, because we want to reach out to you. And I get it when you say, I get to prove that to you. You know, I hope that maybe my record proves that. You know, we haven't tried to, you know, we've never pushed anything down anybody's throat. You know, we've never backdoored anybody, we've never done anything by surprise here. Not while I'm sitting here. Nor will we. What the core of this is, well, I'll try to do the short form. Why we even wanted water to 93, because that was really the core. Over there on the wall, you'll see a map of sanitary sewers that when I got here 3.5 years ago, they were going to bring the sewers in all over. Okay, and one of the places they're going to bring the sewers, we have people that want the sewers, and that's State Route 93. All right. Now, because of economics, because of COVID, because of conversations we've had, they're not going into the neighborhoods with the sewers, but they have agreed to stay on track on 93. And the sewer's going to come up from the Barberton wastewater plant on Vanderhoof, and it's going to come up and it's going to go to Grace Church. And it stops at Grace Church because Grace Church is a lovely church, but also because of geography. All right, and that's when the land started. So they can flow from there. So we're advised, and the sewer is going to be on that stretch. We had a lot of businesses that wanted sewer and also wanted water. We have people that own, we have some people that have property on 93 that have been reaching out to us and have said, you know, can you get water there as well, since the sewer's coming. So we made a pitch to get water through the Ohio EPA, and we got a $4 million water project without cost to the city. There were 2 awards. It was a $2 million grant, and then we got Aqua to take care of the balance of it. There were only 2 awarded in the state. We got the highest one. And that's what's been going on. You guys have been very patient in seeing it. It came from about Giuseppe's, where he's at Green, went up Caston Road, cut in Coleman, up Catalina, up to Renninger. And we had them mirror where the sewer was going to be. So they ran it to Vanderhoof, and they ran it down to Grace. So now we got sewer and we got water there. What do we care? What does the city care? Well, why should you care about that? The reason that we care about it, and I think you need to care about it, is because of the expenses of running this operation, okay? And what it takes on an annual basis, because costs go up. And we all know that, all right? And we flatline on revenue, generally, okay? We are as high as property tax. You know, we're one of the higher in Summit County. We all know that. What a lot of people don't realize is the vast majority of that money goes to the schools. God bless them, because we got good schools, it's good for the community. all right? But we have, I certainly have made it clear, and I think council's on board with that the last thing we're gonna do is come back to property owners and say we want a property tax. We want to increase property taxes. So one way or another, we have to generate additional revenue as time goes on. And the only way to do that is through your income tax base. Now the good news is that 90% of the people who live here don't work here. So they're not paying the income tax, all right? So when they're, but we need, that's where that's the next revenue stream. If we're gonna increase, we have to do it, and that's not unique to New Franklin. That's what cities all over America understand, all right? So how are we gonna increase our income tax? Well, businesses, it'd be nice to have, maybe it'd be nice to have a company come in with 100 employees, do light manufacturing somewhere, okay? Maybe we can put them out somewhere where they're out of the way, all right? Well, what do these companies want to come here? Well, they want sewer, they want water, and they want a highway, all right? Now, when I walked in here 3 years ago, my answer was, well, we got no sewer, we got no water, and we got no highway, all right? So we're not getting businesses to come here, all right? We, in fact, lost a business because we didn't have sewer, water, and a highway, and that's Clinton Aluminum. But the good news, and they built a real nice place over in Norton because they got sewer, water, and a highway right up to 21. The good news for us on that count is we've already got somebody coming in there, so we don't look like we're going to lose any revenue over there. And those things don't happen by accident. We've been trying to do it through hard work. So the vision that we saw was this: we're not going to get right now a company to come in here with 100 or 150 employees, but maybe now at the same time we got people say, wouldn't it be nice to have a grocery store? Wouldn't it be nice maybe to have a Starbucks or something, or a Tim Hortons? Okay. One or two, wouldn't it be nice to have some services up here? And then we got another core of people that have been saying since I got here, in fact, I got a nice letter back in my office from a lady who said, I wanted to sell my house and I wanted to retire here, okay? And I wanted to find a nice maintenance-free place that maybe I could be close to the Portage Lakes or the Towpath Trail, but there is no place like that in New Franklin. I gotta go to Jackson, I gotta go to Greene, or I gotta go to Hartville or somewhere like that. Wouldn't it be nice to have some places like that? So now, how do you get builders to put those kind of things up? Well, they want services, okay? How do you get service people to come here? Well, they want residents, all right? And so we said, this corridor, we identified back in 2004, and I won't be too much longer. Back in 2004, we did our comprehensive plan. And we identified 3 corridors where there was potential for some type of growth that would bring some type of income tax revenue. And that's 619, State Route 93, and Cleveland-Massillon Road. Now we have, so those were our 3 opportunities for potential development. And when we found out the sewer was coming, and we had some specific people that wanted the water, we said, well, maybe we can get the water there too. And we were able to do that. So we got the sewer, we got the water. Now, what should that look like? Okay, and that's the next step. And as I was explaining earlier, because we got this grant, the Ohio Economic Development Association invited us to their annual state conference to do a presentation on how we got the water, which is a really nice story, but I'm not going to bore you with it. But it turned out it was a happy ending for us. So our economic development people, and they also want to say, what's it going to look like when you're done, once you get the water and sewer. So the economic development people threw something together, and that's exactly what that was. All right? And that's what you saw. When I saw that for the presentation, I said, I wrote there, I don't know. Okay. That's all it was. It was an artist's conception. And that presentation was made. And then we posted it on our website. It got posted on a couple other websites, and people like you had concerns. What's going on? And we said, nothing, except the fact that we're trying to do some forward thinking about how we might want this to look, the State Route 93 corridor. So we invite those people in. And we formed a Citizens Action Panel. We got about 25 members, and several of them are here with us right now. And we met as a group, and we told them that we want input, we want ideas, and we're going to get it from the general public, we're going to get it from the stakeholders, the people that own property along that route. without a question, the intention is to have you folks involved. We've put together, we're early on in this, we've put together a master list of all the property owners that we're going to be reaching out to let them know what's, that we're going to have this discussion. And then the question became, who should be guiding this discussion? All right? And I got a book sitting on my desk that says economic development is not for amateurs. Okay? And the feeling was not, hey, let's just use our zoning people and our economic development people and the people here with this expertise. Who has experience in these areas as a consultant? And we reached out and found a guy by the name of Fred Guerra, and you can look him up. Beacon Journal just did a nice article on him. He just retired from Cuyahoga Falls. He was Bardman's planning director for about 16 years. Mark doesn't care for him too much because he don't like what he did in Cuyahoga Falls. But he was in Cuyahoga Falls 17, 18 years. And he's a good planner. He's got a lot of experience. So I say, and he, because he's in transition right now, he's working as a consultant with Insight Development. That's our economic development people. And we said, well, give us a proposal, not for a full comprehensive plan review for the whole city, but for this corridor right here. What might it look like from Vanderhoof down to Nimicilla? What are the possibilities? Okay, what should go where? We've got a couple people that are already, we got a couple that are already in the development stages. But we got others that want to come, all right? But where should it be? If somebody wants to have an auto repair shop, where should that be? And should it be next to Dollar General? Should it be, I don't know, I'm not sure, because that's not my field, all right? So we said, let's bring somebody in who knows what they're doing in this regard to guide us, all right? So to begin with, I'm going to say, and then I'll tell you what this legislation is about. I'll say again, there are no plans whatsoever. Okay? There's nothing been presented to council. Everything, we're at the early stage of this. All right, let me finish it up. I certainly field questions. So we asked them to give us a proposal, what would it look like, and they gave us a proposal. And it's a 6-phase process. That's going to start the plan support system. They'll look at existing conditions, zoning, land use, potential historic structures, park areas, trails, open space, existing plans, economic conditions. They'll take a good look at what we got. Then secondly, base and scenario maps. New and enhanced maps showing existing conditions and also creating additional maps on alternative plan ideas. So they'll come up with some different ideas for us. Not something that I'm going to sit around and brainstorm with, but somebody who's got 35 years experience doing this kind of thing, and say, what might look good where, okay? And I want to pause and say, these will only be suggestions. The city will never, as long as I'm sitting here, be in the business of trying to say, we want to take your property and do this with it, okay? And all I got for you on that is my word. But I haven't violated that yet. And I won't. From there, maybe the most important step, stakeholder discussions. A series of up to 3 meetings will be held with property owners, public officials, developers, community meetings. We'll have group meetings, and probably we'll go down to the high school for that, all right? Probably we'll have, I hope we have 3 times the number of people that we have here right now. So that we can, but I will tell you, we'll get stuff out in advance. We'll say, here's an option, here's an option, here's an option, here's what we're talking about. This is going to be a collaborative effort, which is why we put the Citizens Action Panel together. And I certainly invite anybody here that wants to be part of that, let me know. We'd be happy to include you. So that we get out some ideas. Okay, here's what they're talking about. Here's what this might look like. From there, eventually, task 4 is a draft plan and a market analysis. And that's a key piece too. Because I can dream all day about Tim Hortons being on the corner, but if Tim Hortons doesn't want to come here, we're not going to have one. Okay? But we're already doing some legwork on that, of trying to show people what is our resident base. All right? How far is it? How far do people have to travel? How many people jump in the car and run up to Starbucks on Arlington because they want Starbucks? Okay? Or pick another choice that you have to drive to. Okay? So there'll be a market analysis of what might make sense and what might not make sense from people that have been doing this for 35 years. And at that point, then, this will culminate in a master plan, a proposed master plan. All right. Now, when it reaches that stage, we'll have more discussions, and we'll see what the consensus is. These folks here are going to be intimately involved in this because it goes to them. Okay, to say yes, this makes sense. This is what we think the city ought to do. Okay, and folks, even then, you got to understand it's just a plan. Okay, because the developers may come, they may not come. All right. But I go back to the why, and then I'll stop. It'd be great to do nothing, all right. But if we do nothing, over the course of time, the income tax base flatlines, and the costs keep going up, and you don't have no other revenue stream, and you start losing your services, all right. And drive around Ohio, and you'll see plenty of examples of that. You don't have to go very far. So we're just trying to be a little bit forward thinking for the people that we're serving, for you and for your kids and for your grandchildren. But we're doing it in an orderly fashion. And so this piece here would bring these folks on board, and particularly Fred, at a cost of $42,500 to lead us in the development of a Manchester Road Corridor Master Planning Project. So that's the idea, all right? And it's going to be council's call whether they want to proceed with this or not. And I will defer at this point to you, Mr. Stock, whether you want to, if now's a good time for questions, it's fine. Yeah, sure.
All right.
I have a question.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
So the proposed plan is for Manchester Road?
Yes,
That's where the planning's gonna go?
yes.
Secondly, the person that did this, that you're going to hire, did Barberton and Cove Falls?
He did. He was their planning director at Barberton for about 16 years, and then he was Cotton Falls for about 17 years. The two projects that particularly, they did the Tusk, the downtown Barberton, where the Magic Theater is and all that. And then they did the Front Street and the Portage Crossing. So yes, that involved.
Well, if I wanted to live in Barberton or Cove Falls, I wouldn't have bought a house out here. I don't like what he did in either place.
And I don't know that, I'm not suggesting to you that that's what we want to hear. I'm suggesting that he had experience in taking a look and saying, who might come, where might the development come, et cetera. And I want to preface it, I want to say again, one of the things we got earlier this year was, hey, we don't want to be green. We don't want businesses all over the place. We don't want traffic all over the place. Amen. I can assure you, we are not going to be green, okay? We have no highway, all right? That's how you become green. That's how you become Montrose. If you have a highway, if you got 77 coming through with 3 exits, we have no highway, all right? So this is never going to be green. That I can assure you.
That's why I moved here, 12 to 15 minutes from 3 different expressways, and I'm away from everything.
Yeah. Well, what we're trying to do is, I think you get the idea. Our thinking was, if we got 10 businesses with 15 employees, that's better than having one with 150, because I'm not going to get one with 150.
I have a question. When you say Manchester Road Corridor, are you speaking specifically on Manchester, or are you affecting the roads parallel and attached to Manchester Road? So how far is your corridor? Are we speaking just Manchester Road?
No.
And the property that butts to it? Are we talking about a wider area?
What we've asked them to look at is the area of undeveloped land. Let's say we haven't had any specific parameters. We haven't said, a quarter mile, a half mile. It's more a matter of, I got a nice chart in there, of where the undeveloped land is. So where the undeveloped land is, that's primarily what we're looking for. So some of it's just the frontage. Some others, we got 20 acres that go back. some of these property owners we've talked to, they said, we're not interested. Okay, it's your land.
You're
Okay.
speaking 20 acres off of Manchester Road.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple of parcels here that have 20 acres in front of Manchester.
So you're not speaking like Donner or
No.
a road maybe on this side?
No, we're not thinking about getting back into the zone, into Zoletta allotments or anything like that. We're looking at the undeveloped land in that stretch.
I was gonna say, there's a lot of undeveloped land between Donner and
Yeah,
Manchester.
yeah, and listen, I don't, I do have a chart in there, but I'm not gonna grab it. You guys might know who owns it. I can tell you, I've got it written in here.
That's all undeveloped land.
No, I know it is. Right now, it's all zone B1 right now.
Yes,
Yeah.
well drawing, the great.
But,
So Paul, what are you gonna build there?
Huh?
What are you gonna build there?
No, I'm not gonna build anything there.
What are they gonna build there?
Well, I would, that's what the plan would be about. If anything, hey, if the property owns it, if the property owner doesn't want to build anything there, there's nothing going to be built there. All right? This is not a city initiative to come in and say, hey, we're dying to we're going to grab all your property and put something together. It's going to be the property owner's initiative. We're going to try to give them some options. All right? If whoever owns that property and doesn't want to develop it, it's not going to get developed. It's just that simple.
My point is that I heard they're gonna put low income housing in some.
There is no truth to that.
Well,
There is.
that is, you hear stuff.
No, I appreciate you saying it. Yeah, there is no truth to that. There's no value for us to that. Okay?
I believe that.
That's not what we're after. Because this is a chicken and an egg kind of a thing. All right? That if somebody's going to come in and put in some nice maintenance-free senior type of housing that maybe me and my wife could.
How is that gonna bring you income tax revenue?
Because if you have some of those, all right, now Tim Hortons wants to come. Okay? That if you have some additional residential, then you have some services that follow. And this isn't my model, okay? This is what the economic development people will tell you.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sir.
Hello, I'm just curious to know, how did you pick this consulting firm over the competition?
We wanted this particular guy, quite frankly.
Was there an RFP for a bid?
I did not do a request for proposal on this.
So there's only one person who's given you the conceptual drawings so far.
With that conceptual drawing did not come from that individual. All right? That conceptual drawing was volunteered by somebody our economic development people asked him as a favor to put that conceptual together. He was not involved in that whatsoever.
So my next question is, most large firms look for tax abatements in order to create that business model that you speak of. What is the chance that that'll happen with these future proposals?
In other words, whether there be incentives,
Yes.
everything's on the table. In terms of that's why Clinton Aluminum is sitting over in Norton right now. All right, because they got those types of favorable tax advantages. We haven't had anybody ask for that at this point in time. In the long run of development, so that's going to be a piece by piece.
But won't that cut into the revenue stream?
No, not necessarily, because, it depends on, there's a lot of different models in that. Okay, there's TIFs and the tax abatements, and it just depends on which. It's a property tax abatement, not an income tax abatement. So you don't abate the income tax.
Just the property.
Just the property tax, which the major loser in that is the school, quite frankly. Because the city gets about, 5% of the property tax.
But compared to everyone else, their value is higher, so the ability to receive that revenue from that company is diminished if we don't collect those taxes.
Well, again, the major revenue source is going to be from the income tax, not the property tax. The property tax would be a minor. Well, that's why you do those things.
In order to receive those income taxes, you want to change the entire demographic of New Franklin by adding to population in geography.
Here's the thing.
And then after you add all those people and buildings, then you want to add more businesses. Then you're finally gonna get to your income tax after you've completely changed why people live here.
Well, all right, I would say this. First of all, we've already had some businesses that are coming first. I don't know if the residential piece will happen or whether it won't happen, quite frankly. But the easiest thing to do is nothing.
It's not the smart thing to do.
I don't agree, I couldn't agree with you more, okay? I mean, it's one way or another. You address the need, the long-term need for some additional revenue stream. And
We're gonna move
again,
around a little bit here too, and finish this.
And this is my last question, I'll be done. But with that being said, because you haven't defined the perimeters of the corridor, why don't we shrink the perimeters of the corridor and make it a commercial investment and not impact the residential side?
we're not, I mean, there's no intention to disrupt the current residential
Model.
pattern.
Well,
In the
if you sell,
city.
if you sell 20 acres, I mean, if someone sells 20 acres and it butts up to another residence on Donner, it is absolutely gonna impact.
Yeah, but
Well-
if that owner of that property wants to sell it, other than you buying it or the neighbors buying it, that's his right to
But see,
sell.
that's why we're here, because he wouldn't be asked to sell if that plan wasn't already there. So that's why we wanna define the plan.
Well, we don't even have a defined plan.
The concern that I have is, again, my property butts up to one of these properties that I think you're talking about. And I know you're saying that this is just conceptual, but there's a road going through my pasture. And that's a concern for me because that's, I'm in Helen as well. And that, I don't ever see that happening. So, that's my concern.
I gotta tell you, this, that is on me, okay? I did not study that conceptual. And that's just the truth, all right? This proposal, they put this together and they asked me to speak at it, and I did. And it was 30, yeah, it was a real nice event. It was a statewide event, and they were real happy we were there, and there were 37 different cliques, okay? And I was concerned about the part that really explained how we got the water and what the percentage was, et cetera, et cetera. I didn't look at it. I'm just telling you the truth. I didn't look at it. When I did look at it, and that's on me. I take responsibility for that. But it wasn't going anywhere anyway. But when I did look at it, I said the same thing you're saying. Okay? Why would we do that? Okay? That's not the idea. Nor has it ever been the idea. But I take responsibility for that piece getting out there. And, the downside of it is it created a lot of anxiety that didn't need to be created. Okay? I try to find an upside is we're having this discussion. All right? And we put a panel together to further that discussion. So, I think there's a silver lining in there.
So then we got a $2 million grant for water on a paper that you did not look at,
No,
and they seen housing there and said, okay, we'll give them the water.
no. This was all after the fact. They invited us here because we got the water. We got the water grant. Okay?
They were asking them what other ideas they have
Yeah.
now that they have the water.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you created this committee to community members. How did they get notified? I mean, I guess I heard about this just from word of mouth today.
Yeah.
So if you want the community involvement, how do we find out about it?
No, we put it out, and again,
Where did you put it out?
we put it on our website and on our Facebook page when we advertised and asked people to join. Okay?
Can you send out like a mailer? Because not everybody has social media,
Well,
not
you're
everybody
right.
gets
I'm
online.
on social media and I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Well, I could pull it up historically. It was,
Well,
because
you understand though that Facebook is censored a lot, so you don't see
No.
the whole post.
no, I get it.
I
Well-
believe that you put it out, but I guess what I'm saying is maybe if
see
you
what they
send
think
out
is most
mailers
interesting
to the
to you.
mail, to the communities or to the
People
people that it
Public.
affects
Right.
and that it's gonna be around, I think you would get a lot more involvement. Because like I said, I didn't hear about this until today at like 3:00 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Who here is on that board?
Who's on the committee? How did you guys hear about it?
I didn't hear about which part.
To be part of the
To join
committee?
us, bring a
I
council meeting.
think enough of us started questioning what was going on because this thing is on their website. And some people suggested having a committee, and that's when they put together a committee.
I'll have to hear about it then, Kevin, because I suggested creating a committee. So how did you hear
I
about
checked
it?
your guys' website and read
Okay,
the
so you
pages,
saw it
and
on the
I forwarded
website.
that to the page that I have that's got
Mark, you saw it?
You mentioned it during a council meeting, and
Council
that's how we
meeting,
got
yeah.
involved.
Yeah,
Council
okay.
meetings,
Go to the council
people
meetings,
seriously
right.
All right,
on
Bob, how'd you find out about it?
Also off of the website.
Okay. So,
Who's seen it?
So that's less than 1% of this crowd that heard it from a website.
Who's seen it?
That's a very small percentage of this crowd that heard it.
no, there's no question about it. And let me tell you, I mean, that's been a slow crawl itself. We went from 0 social media, quite frankly, to a Facebook page and a website that we put notices on daily. Okay, but I know we got a lot more work to do there. So we're trying. And obviously we got to get. And you make a good point that a lot of people don't have that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe mailers out to, because everybody collects their mail. You know, I'm on a computer all day at work, the last thing I want to do is come home and be on it.
I appreciate that.
So it would be nice, and yes, it is my responsibility to come to meetings, but I didn't. Now, maybe, it brings forward a need for me to be educated, but I think if you would send out mailers too, it would be a service to those of us who are not online all the time.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with you.
We'd have to check the cost of a son sending a mailer to 50s, 500.
It's cost small, but everything.
But but I will tell you, we've one of the things that I've had that we've been doing internally in preparation for this process is creating that master database mailing list of stakeholders that are in that path. I'll make sure that the Donner Drive people are on it. I can assure you that. So you'll get something from
I
us.
think it affects all of New Franklin.
Yeah.
Well, it does. I mean, there's the extent, and everyone's invited, the more the merrier. But, okay.
Sure, want to ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
This was based on I'm on this committee, the Community Advisory Panel. At our last meeting in person, or the last meeting we had, we said we were going to go back and look at the city's comprehensive plan, which was to go out and find out what the citizens of the community want. Then, according to the email that I received on April 21st, which was after our April 15th meeting, all of a sudden we advised that the city is now considering engaging a consultant for the development of a master plan for Manchester Road corridor, as opposed to a full review of the comprehensive plan. Fred Guerra, and it goes on from there. Well, he screwed Cuyahoga Falls up. I lived there while he did it. Then it says it was suggested we consider a less intensive review of the comprehensive plan while we work on the master plan. It sounds to me like putting the cart before the horse. Why are you going to spend $42,000 doing this financial economic planning with Insight and now Fred Guerra when you haven't asked the people of the community what they want?
Yeah. Well, you do understand that one of the components is the input from the public.
Yeah, but not until after they've done 3 steps in this process before they finally get and talk to the people. Maybe the first thing to do is to talk to the people and find out what they want.
And Mark, I don't know if you got a different recollection of what we talked about at the meeting, but that was my recollection of what we talked about at the meeting, to scale down from the comp plan to the master plan.
What'd you
I think
say?
Kevin might have been the one who recommended that.
Well, recommended the comprehensive.
Going down to a master plan as opposed to.
No, I recommended instead of spending $100,000 on redoing the comprehensive plan, to break it up into smaller sections, get a panel of citizens to review it. If it still makes sense, just set it aside, move on to the next part. And then if you find some parts that take some special expertise, then we get a consultant to help with those parts. But if I recall the last meeting, the first meeting was good because everybody talked about their background, what we wanted, and what we thought of the conceptual plan that was on the website. The second meeting was more, and there's other people here from the committee, because I think you did most of the talking about what you kind of envisioned, and then you brought up Fred Guerra, and you were going to send us out a thing of his proposal. And that's you'd mentioned in the last meeting, which is 2 weeks ago, that we want Fred. Well, I'm curious as to who is we? Is we you and Insight? Is we you and Council? Or is we consisted of you and the CAP? Because I don't remember us ever saying we want Fred Guerra. Furthermore, I understand he's got 35 years of experience, but he was in Barberton and he was in the Falls. 35 years doing the same thing. It's almost like he's got a cookie cutter. He's going to wipe the Falls name off there and then put New Franklin on it. I don't know that I want that same type of practice or techniques he was using in those other communities here. And I at least think if we're going to do a resolution to pay for money or expend money to hire this guy, we should at least have some sort of a comfort level with them, maybe have them talk to the CAP first. Get that buy-in from the CAP before we go spending money on this. I want to say thanks to Mr. Fetterman for putting this on hold. I wasn't available to attend the last meeting, but great insight to put this on hold, knowing there's going to be other people. And I'm not responsible for these people being here.
We were gonna run this through 3 readings because this is important. So it was council with Mr. Fetterman that we were not gonna.
I'd like to suggest this thing just get put on hold until, and we had a $6 million carryover. That's what, 50% of our annual budget? No city does. I mean, that's great. We're in a great financial situation, so it's not going to be, I guess my point there is it's not like next year we're going to be in financial dire straits. We can put this off for another few months, get some other people involved on it, and then the last thing,
You're good. No, you're good. We're just.
So, he gave us the proposal he had, and I've got some experience with this in another community where they kind of went through the same process, the same template that he has, and it blew up in the city's face to the point where when the election time came around, anybody who was up for re-election didn't get reelected, and that whole project is now scrapped and sitting on the book somewhere. You've got to get community buy-in on whatever you're going to plan. You can't just go to the developer first. You can't have some guy put together a plan, come up with conceptual maps that hasn't even been vetted yet by the community. And then you're going to go to a developer who's going to be in it for business. He's going to be in it to make money. He's going to put the pieces on a map. And then, as a community, we can say we don't like it. He's just going to move the pieces. They're still going to be the same pieces because he needs to have so many seats in that building to make money. And at the end of the day, and if he's not making money, he's not going to do it. So you need to find out what the community wants, what the community is going to support, and what the community is going to be really to get behind the map. So those are my comments.
And you made the comment that you wanted this guy, or you said we wanted this. Who is we?
No, I mean, I'll take responsibility.
I got one more question.
I mean, with the input that I had from people that I've talked to in the county, in the community, people that have worked with him before, and we interviewed him. Now I didn't bring him in front of the CAP to interview him, but we had him come in here and talk to us, and I got a feel for the guy. And his credentials are real solid. And but I'm listening. I'm listening.
One more comment, Paul. You had mentioned just a few minutes ago that you didn't have a scope for the width and the length of the study. But at the last, I just watched it today. The last meeting, you talked about going from Vanderhoof to Mississilla, half-mile wide. Is what you're.
Well, I mean, that was an approximation. I tried to give you an approximation. So if you went a quarter mile on each side, that's going to hold true in some areas. Some areas it's not. Some areas it might be a little deeper.
Another question.
I was president of an organization, didn't have the budget you have, but I know that if I brought up to vote to pay $42,000 to an individual, they would have my ass, for not getting 3 bids and having 3 prices out there and being able to see the full contract of each person.
Good one.
Even a variety of concepts.
Paul, this is clearly a one-sided conversation in the room. Is there an appetite that you've seen in the community for this kind of development? I haven't seen any.
No.
I'm not suggesting that I know the heartbeat of the community. I'm just saying we seem to be pushing forward with this, and whatever it is what it is. But is there an appetite that you see for people that want that kind of development in the community?
I didn't understand what you first meant. It was when you said it was a one-sided.
Well, this room is clearly slighted against that development.
Oh,
so this would not be the room to take a temperature on. I'm just saying.
We're gonna do it before we leave.
I'm ultimately saying, is there?
You're here now. I want to do it.
Is there an appetite somewhere that you've seen in the community for that kind of development?
Well, we've had some people reach out. Okay, we've got, there's going to be some. There's already going to be some I think you'll be happy with. So yeah, we've had some outreach in the community. It's really more. And listen, I'm listening to you. It's really going to be more about where we narrowed, where could it happen at? Okay? Because, yes, I think the council's been prudent, and we've done a good job with the money, and we're in a decent position right now. And one second. But it would be very short-sighted to say we're in good shape, don't worry about anything. Okay? The kind of things we're talking about is things that'll develop over 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Okay? And if we're not doing this, then what else do we do? Okay? Now, as far as Fred and what this part is about is this. And listen, I'm ready to back up on this. I'm listening to you. Okay? And we talked about, should we send this out for RFP? request for proposal. And I said, I didn't want to do a dog and pony show and have people give us proposals when I already know what guy I think, who the city would best be suited to have do this. And that's why we didn't do it. But we can go back to that, and I'm not opposed to that at all, and going in that direction with it. But it just comes down to this. It's not a matter of hurry up and do something. Why I moved this was to not sit here and do nothing, okay? The reason we have water up there is because we didn't sit here and do nothing, all right? And they've been talking about water in New Franklin for as long as I've lived here. It's about 50 years, all right? It never happened, okay? And we went to the EPA and we said, how can we make this happen? And they said, you can't, and this and that, and this and that. And eventually, we got a $2 million grant. And we made it happen. So I'm trying to keep the train moving down the tracks. All right. Now, if I got out in front of you, I'm glad you're here. Okay. And we can roll this back to committee. And we can have some more discussions like this. And we can decide what direction you want to go. I want to hear your question, and go ahead.
It's quick and simple. As we saw COVID put an increase of demand on 5G and broadband, is that part of that plan?
We got a whole nother, we're going in a whole nother direction. Well, broadband's a whole separate process, and I can tell you that we're working hard on broadband.
Well, if we're trying to invite communities, businesses, I'm thinking from the economic impact, they have to have connectivity.
No question about it. I can tell you, we got two things going. This isn't the only front we're working on, all right? We got two different things going on with the broadband. One is a countywide where they may bring it here. We've got a separate guy that we've been talking to about towers, et cetera. I've had meetings with Spectrum. I've had meetings with AT&T. We know there's going to be federal money. We know there's going to be state money. We're working real hard on the broadband. We understand that's an important piece of the puzzle. I mean, as hey, no, I don't want to put a road through your pasture, okay? But, is there a sense here, of the folks that are here? Does it make sense for us to try to do something in terms of trying to increase some revenue streams here as far as income tax?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we're all on that same page.
But not in your backyard.
But not in your backyard, I get it.
It has to be feasible and planned and acceptable and consensus driven.
And see, that's why I knew we couldn't do this internally. We shouldn't do this internally, okay? But look, we'll do RFPs. And before we do that, we'll come back to the Citizens Action Panel. We're not going to have amateurs do this, all right? I would be doing you a grave disservice if I gathered everybody in the room and said, what does everybody think we ought to do? And then did that, okay? Unless some of you guys are master planners. All right, now we got a lot of talented people that could have a lot of input, okay? But somebody's got to drive that boat, all right? So and maybe it's not this guy, okay? Because Mark hasn't liked it, and I get it. You've got experience with the guy. And so maybe there's others out there. But, I don't want to be behind on it. You follow me? I don't want sewer to be here in 2 years. And we say, gee, I wonder what we ought to do. Okay? You start this planning now so you have some idea what's going to happen in 2 years. All right?
I think we've got a young man back here that's had his hand. Do you have a question still?
Yeah, I mean, I was just gonna say, I don't own anything, of course, but I live with my mom, and I like the fact that we have a highway down there, we got a highway down that way, but we're not congested here. We don't have a Tim Hortons, like you said, right here on the corner. Everybody's trying to go in and out through, or a Starbucks right here that there's a whole bunch of teenagers coming in and out through. It's just a neighborhood where all of us are just chilling and we're having fun.
I got it, but what's missing is additional revenue to keep paving the streets.
And I get people so there is, Bob, I get people say, why don't we still don't have a grocery store. Yeah. We don't have a Dunkin' Donuts. Yeah, there's one not too far away. What's that?
It's 8 minutes away.
Well, you know what? I don't know if you lived here when we had Sparkle.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but people went, and some people like to shop in their community.
Sure.
You know, and you don't like it, but I know that people asking me, are they
Sure,
wrong
but
to say they would like to have
If you
one?
don't have the population density to support it, the
Well-
stores are not gonna come.
Well, then
And
that's
we-
the thing,
we don't
you
wanna
ask,
add that
listen,
much to the
you find out,
population.
that there might be an Aldi's or something that would come here. You don't know, do you know that for sure?
No, but.
Well,
Okay,
that's
but
not, I
I'm
mean,
saying,
economic
it seems
impact
like-
has to be drawn on before we can speculate.
I
on
mean, but we
anything.
got,
Of course.
we just got to
That's what
check.
the market
Yeah,
feasibility.
we have to do the market
Yeah,
anal-
that's what you
analysis,
gotta do.
demographic analysis, and all those things.
Absolutely.
I think what the issue is, and I'm sorry, my point is that there are a lot of concerns in this room. Everyone is driven for us to be a successful community, but the success dynamic varies from person to person. We have to come to consensus on it. The responsibility that you owe us as elected officials is to communicate with us and keep us in the loop. It's clear to me that the Facebook page and the web page has some pitfalls and some limits. One of our clients, one of our residents said, why don't we send a mailer out? Immediately got shot down because we haven't done a cost benefit analysis. It doesn't matter because we're your community and we decide together how we're going to make this community grow. Now, it's very important to have a revenue stream. Businesses will do that. But there's also a slow roll and there's also a balance. And there are going to be trade-offs. So we have to decide which trade-offs are we going to be willing to take. Because a rise in my property tax just to maintain what we have is not a sustainable model.
Exactly, I'm not for that.
Yeah, I know you're not. That's why it's important to have the business. So as we do the economic impact analysis, we have to determine what businesses do we want. Because Tim Hortons or Starbucks might not be what we want. We might want smaller companies or smaller businesses. We might want mom and pops in our neighborhood. We might want a smaller pay style. All right, those are the things we have to discuss collectively as an organization before we can make those decisions. And a lot of folks in this room, based on what I'm hearing, are feeling they're being railroaded into having this one individual as our leader. So that's the beauty of the RFP.
And I listened.
Oh, no, I think you did.
Okay.
And I can give you credit on that.
All right.
But now the next step is what's next?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Okay, Mark, go ahead.
Me?
Yeah.
Did I ever speak?
Oh, I'm sorry. Jim, go ahead.
We wanted you to start off to me.
3 hours, I feel like I'm in third grade. First of all, I totally agree with the fact that you hire somebody in confidence to do what you're doing. It's not always the cheapest price, it's the bestest person for the job. And I agree with that totally. What I have an issue with is stopping the sewer at one point and punishing all the commercial businesses south of that. And it's only another mile and you're out of the commercial businesses. That's a real issue for the station I still own part of versus it stops right at Get-Go or Bell Store, who's not been a member of this community for 60 years like I was. And it's an issue. And it's not fair to say, you can have this and you can put him out of business because you can put in all the foods and all the things that they can't afford to do because of the fact that they can't do the sewer system because they're going to be there someday. So, and I know it's a money issue, and I do understand that, Paul. And I agree with you hiring the person you think is best to study these things. They may not be liked by everybody, but you believe that he's the best person for the job. Because I spent a lot of my time paying people more money because they knew more than people other than they thought they did. So I do agree with that. But that is an issue about where you stop with it, and I understand that.
No, I want to address that too, Jim, because again, this is one piece, and it's one small piece of everything we're trying to do. I mentioned broadband. I could spend a lot of time telling you what we're doing there. I'm not happy that it stops at Grace. It's gravity that stops it at Grace. Okay, that was Summit County Sewer that decided to stop it at Grace because otherwise they got to put a pump station in, as you probably know, because again, you know what? These are things that got talked about for 15, 20 years. Okay, and now they're going to happen.
15 years ago.
And let me tell you what we're in the process of those discussions with Summit County Sanitary Sewer of getting that sewer down to Nimisila because we want to get it down Nimisila to the new high school. We're in the middle of conversations with the Ohio EPA, with Aqua, and also with BP about getting the water without cost to us in that same area to run it up Renninger so it could go to the high school, get it up to Nimisila, and get it over to Grace. So we're trying to get those connecting pieces. All right. I mean that's expensive stuff.
I know it
Okay.
is.
I mean, very, very expensive stuff. We got this little industrial piece, I don't even know why it's down there, Clinton Aluminum and Martin Steel, who by the way is expanding because we've been talking to them, and Clinton Machine. They're sitting down there at Van Buren and Center Road, okay? And, well, they got no sewer, they got no water, okay? There's some land over there, some people would like to see maybe a little bit of a, you know, some you know, the same type of business right there. Well, they're not gonna happen without sewer and water. So we talk to the county, we say, what's it gonna cost to get the sewer from Van Buren, I mean Vanderhoof, and to run it there to Center Road on Van Buren? $8 million.
I know.
$8 million.
Terrible.
Okay, so this stuff isn't cheap, as you know. But we got another window because this ARP money is coming in, and it can only be used for sewer, water, and broadband right now. Okay, so now we don't have the guidelines from Treasury yet on how we're going to do that. So my thinking in that one is this: one of the expensive pieces is the planning and design, as you guys know if you've been involved in this stuff before. Okay. You know, before you find out, part of that $8 million is the planning and design, a big piece of it. All right. So it appears we may be able to use some of our ARP money for the planning and design, which is, as soon as we find out we can do that, then my intention is to see what it would cost. Let's get some planning and design to extend that over. Believe me, Suffolk County Sewer knows how bad I want to get it to Minnesota.
I know you do.
Because I've been bugging them and bugging them. That's the only reason we got 93, quite frankly, because they got sick of hearing me. And I'm not trying to do this, I'm just telling you the truth. All right? Because they weren't going to do anything. All right? We had to save that piece. Okay? So we'll get to the next pieces. But believe, you know, because you're not alone there, Tim, and I don't want to see you strangled down there. Okay? And we got some good long-term businesses right there in that Coke Plaza and Flower by Dick, et cetera, that are dying for that water and the sewer too. So we're going to make that happen. All right? It's going to happen. It's a process, but you know, we're working on all fronts.
Well, it's a concern because, you know, Bell Store's a big company. And once they get the sewer in there, they put in all the things, the amenities you can't have without it. And then they beat him to death and he's gone.
I get you.
You know, so it's a real concern. You know, plus I have an investment in it. And,
well, that's fair.
and not only that, the coach and it, you know, all those people
Right.
have been in Manchester for 75 years. You know, and they get beat up the street, and the public doesn't know. They just go where they go, and that's just the way life is. That's the way it always has been.
Yeah.
They will go where convenience is convenience.
Yeah.
All right, one more time, then we're gonna wrap this up. Now, I have two things. One, would you be willing to join the Citizens Advisory Panel?
You obviously talking to Omar.
I'll be here a while.
His name's
Mike Conwell.
Mike, would you be willing to join us?
Yeah, it's obviously clear that I've been.
You're number 25, Mike.
Nominated by the West.
There we go.
All right, the second question I have, you talk about a business model.
Mike, the color down.
My dad.
Good.
Thank you, by the way.
Obviously, as a community, you gotta have services, you gotta have the revenue stream. There are numerous different business models for achieving that. What I have a problem with and have objected to all along is the Cuyahoga Falls business model, which is high-density residential housing, lots of small trendy shops that contribute to congestion, that contribute to less than desirable members in the community because of high-density, lower rent housing. And the question I have is, I know that the city has been working with Insights since Al Bolles was mayor. How many years have we been working with Insight is the question. And how much a year have we been spending on Insight, who is the company that, and the individual who's the principal in that company was almost solely responsible for Portage Crossing and the Second Street development in Cuyahoga Falls, which what I'm hearing from people in this room, and I can certainly voice my own opinion about, is not the kind of development I want to see in New Franklin. And how many of the expenditures with Insight have been approved by city council? Or were they all kept under the $10,000 limit so that council wasn't involved?
No, it's been a council, it's been an annual contract with council.
Has council approved it? Anybody remember hearing that?
Council
Approved?
Yeah.
For how much a year?
This year was 25,000.
25,000. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So today, how much have we spent?
Well, here's the thing,
I'm
Mark.
just curious, because
Yeah.
maybe they're not the right organization to be doing the planning for what the residents of the community want.
And that's the decision, and clearly, I mean, that's kind of decisions we have to make. Now, we've had value, all right? They were involved, heavily involved in the pitch to the Ohio EPA. They were down there with us. They've been involved with outreach to our current businesses. They were heavily involved with, and I'm not trying to toot their horn, but they're doing their job. To the extent they're able, given the fact that you try to tell a person to build a house and they got no lumber, it's a little tough, okay? Without sewer, without water, and without a highway, come get us some development. So we've been able to retain businesses, we've been able to attract some businesses. We got a couple on deck that, I give them credit for. And here's the thing, we're a bare bones city, okay? Most cities have in-house economic development, all right? We farm ours out. When we farm them out, we don't pay them health insurance, we don't pay them benefits, we don't pay them unemployment, okay? We just pay them a contract fee. So most cities you're gonna find, for instance, the guy I'm talking about, Barberton, they pay somebody. They have in-house economic development.
At the point where you get to that.
Oh, yeah.
But right now, you gotta give council credit for what they're doing. I think everyone on that panel is very diligent when it comes down to where our dollars go. But at the end of the day, we also have to have the clarity and the openness and the frankness so that there's trust. All right, so I think that's what Mark is asking. We're just saying, hey, how much are we spending, where it's going,
right,
and why is it going here?
And
so as long as communication is going on, we're fine.
Yeah. No, I hope I answered your question. I mean,
You did. I guess my only concern is, sure, there's things they've done, and they've helped with grant proposals and all of that. But maybe as a city, we'd be better off looking at what can we do for commercial development over near the Eastern Road corridor to develop commercial businesses, larger employers, than putting in a bunch of apartments in Tim Hortons, which may not be what the community wants.
Yeah. No, those conversations are going on too.
And there might be a better firm.
Although, quite frankly,
there might be a firm that's better suited to figuring out that kind of development.
Yeah, I inherited them, but I'm satisfied with them up to this point in time. There's not a whole lot of local entities that are doing outsourcing economic development, so there's not a lot of competition for that spot. But if I didn't doing a decent job, I wouldn't come to council and ask them to keep me on board.
Just really quick,
Sure.
I know everyone has
Real quick.
questions, and I don't wanna jump in, but wouldn't something that was like light industrial bring in more for the city on those 20 acres than housing or? Because look at on the corner of John's here, which is fairly close to us, we're on the road, you have highway distributing, there's a lot of people, I see a lot of cars there. There's a lot of people that work there, that, for those acres, that has to bring in a lot more, and you say, the city will die if we don't grow. We need the income, we need the revenue. How much, how big of a problem is this? Is it to put in a Tim Hortons, is that going to bring in enough to see this? I mean, to me, it just sounds like if we put in, let's put in these nice houses and like in Cuyahoga Falls, it's being these cute little shops and these fancy coffee places, and some people love that, and more power to them. But I think the people in this room, including myself, that's not what we want, and I don't even think that would benefit the city. Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is one area, and again, we have three corridors, and this is one of them. And so now it's a question of what's the best use? What could potentially can we do on Manchester Road? All right, who's going to come? Okay, when you mentioned light industrial, I don't like, I hate using Clinton Aluminum. We spent a lot of time trying to talk to. We shopped every possible location to Clinton Aluminum, and one of their big concerns were they weren't on a highway. So we shopped. They didn't, they looked,
I guess what I'm saying is
So,
for those.
but yeah, so, and then there's also some people that say they don't want light industrial right here on 93.
You see the
You follow
problem?
me?
The
They
problem,
prefer
We're gonna have to
that
wrap
piece.
this, we got so much conversation.
mixed
to
use,
go on.
mixed use space is what we have to consider.
Yeah, no question, and that's step 6, at least on that proposal.
But I'm gonna take,
Was it,
we're gonna take
an
time on
overlay?
this for tonight at least. Yeah.
But you're asking all the right questions, okay?
I think you gotta use the restroom like the rest of us.
There is, I don't think, there hasn't been anything that hasn't been said that we haven't vetted, okay? And all those things, and it's a complex process.
And right now, I don't have near enough information to even
But
talk any more about this because I'm not sure. I don't want
I will
any
take
little
us,
cute
maybe,
coffee shops or anything. I don't want housing over there. I would like to have a grocery store personally, but that's, so then I could support a grocery store with people working in my community. Maybe your residents, your neighbors get a job in there. I would like to support that. I do have to go to Barberton or whatever, but I would like to support, I always support Spark.
I would think, you're not gonna get a giant Eagle here.
No,
Unless you start.
but
getting
there might be a smaller grocery somewhere that says, hey, this is gonna be a good fit for me in this nice little community. I'd like to be there. Yeah, we used to have 3 of them through the years.
yeah, it may advance the agenda. I will be moving to, I'm gonna withdraw.
All right, there you go.
As opposed to table it, okay? Because I'll tell you, we'll come back, we'll talk some more with the Citizens Action Panel, with our additional members, and have some further discussion. And then I think certainly based on this conversation, that we'll do request for a proposal and see who else might be out there. And so we'll proceed on that course. All right, we're not gonna stand still, we'll keep the train moving down the tracks, but I'm listening. All right, so we'll move, I'll look to withdraw this. All right.
We'll withdraw that then, there's no need for us to really comment any further.
I think you got some tattoos, bro.
7:06 we'll call community development.
And usually we never get, there's probably this many people out there goes, yeah, I like that a lot, but you know what, we will never see them in this room. That's just how it is, so that's where we gotta go with, we feel for y'all, and, I'm on board, I don't want a lot of stuff that you might think I want there. I would like to have a few things, because if you had some local businesses there, even if it was a Dunkin' Donuts, you got people here that said, man, I'd like to work there, and I won't have to go too far from my house. Some people don't look at it that way, like, oh, you can just go to Dunkin' Donuts.
So I was just thinking it wasn't very many employees.
Yeah.
Comparing that to highway distributing, that's in a similar size.
Yeah, I get that.
Acreage, more bang for your buck.
Yeah, I get that, but I think it's too, on me a little bit, getting the extra income. I like that, because we need to do that, but also just, I think people would like to shop local, even if it was a chain or something, it's easy to go drive 8 minutes or whatever, like Mark said, to the grocery store, but I'd like to drive 2 and shop in my community, so.
I chose to live here knowing I would have to drive to the doctor.
Well, no, I moved in here when I could still go to Sparkle Market. We had a grocery store, so you might not have lived here when there was a grocery. There used to be 3 different you can go to Holdren's or Mike's Meat Market. There's none of that here. And I grew up on
Lazy
we got Lazy
Dog.
May I make a comment?
Yeah.
I just want to say again, appreciate everybody coming in and sharing your thoughts with us. But I think it's a little bit premature because we really don't have anything to talk about at this point. And Paul, I kind of disagree with you withdrawing this. I think we have water on Manchester Road right now. We have sewer coming within the next year or 2. We have to have a starting point, and we don't have that starting point. We can't wait. We have to move forward. We have to move forward fast with getting the ideas and getting somewhere where we can start talking about this option or this option. Right now, we don't have anything. And by hiring this guy and I don't know him, I'm just going on Mr. Adamson's recommendation, but that person is going to give us that starting point. That person is going to give us not our plan, but an idea or something for us to think about and something that concrete that we can look at, that we can give to you, that we can give to the citizens to say, what do you think of this? How can we tweak this? How can we make this better for our community? Or do we just pinch it all? But we have to have that starting point. And like you mentioned, that sewer's going to be here, and we've got to, we can't wait. We can't wait to make this plan. We can't sit and wait. And So if we're going to withdraw this, if we're going to get proposals, I mean, it's gotta happen. I worry that in the past, we've waited and being indecisive. And I think this doesn't do anything to us. This doesn't tell us what we're going to do or what we're not going to do. This just gives us an idea, gives us something to think about, something to talk about, something to work with. And right now, we don't have anything to work with except rumors and speculations and whatnot. So I think it's important that we move forward quickly with getting an idea or getting a working draft or something that we can work with, that we can have in our hands and look at and really make good decisions for everybody. And so I'm disappointed you're withdrawing, but if that's what we're going to do, then I'd like to see us, again, move quickly, get these proposals, and let's go. Get it in front of the Citizens Committee, get people involved, get people asking about it and talking about it, and carry on this conversation. So I just want to share that.
Thanks, Jim. All right, we're done with that for now. We got plenty of talk and plenty of time for that, so. We're gonna go on with our committee meetings. That was our last piece of legislation. Anybody have anything else for their committees? Take a break, Andy, or we good?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Oh, yeah, okay. You started to get back like I thought.
I was gonna stand for
All right, I'm gonna call the order of the City of New Franklin Council meeting this Wednesday, June 16th, 2021. We'll call it 7:14. Please stand for the pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please. Yeah, if you guys don't want to stick around for this, you're welcome to leave. So you're welcome to stay.
Hey, I do want to say, and I apologize for being out of order. The Citizens Action Panel, Advisory Panel, is going to meet again on Thursday, July 15th, at 6 p.m.
Here?
Yeah, well, we've been doing Zoom, but I was prepared to meet here.
Meeting?
Everybody seems pretty comfortable. I don't see any masks, so I think you're comfortable. And
What time, Paul?
that's at 6 p.m. And what we'll do, I will have, I'll have a request for proposal out by then. We certainly won't have responses back by then, but I'll get the proposals out by then, and we'll further this discussion. So please come back.
Thank you.
All right.
Volunteer Mikey. Mikey, a good. Big Mikey.
Thank you so much.
And what's he gonna drop?
They get your Facebook page, but they don't look at ours. I can tell that. They'll look at ours sometimes. There's information off ours.
I share you guys'
Oh, you
stuff.
share it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm always putting you guys' stuff on.
Did you put Colin's contact info?
So that don't matter, I'm just looking at our Facebook page to your Facebook page, that's good. All right. All right, let's make a motion to approve the minutes for the regular scheduled meeting of June 2nd, 2021.
Second.
There's a second discussion, questions about the minutes? All right, roll call.
Mr. Hargit?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Fetterman?
Yes.
Mr. Hoff? Ms. Norris?
Yes.
Mr. Stock?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Also, that passes. I'd like to make a motion to approve the financials for May 2021, subject to audit.
Second.
First and second, any discussions? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Fetterman?
Yes.
Mr. Hawk?
Yes.
Ms. Norris?
Yes.
Mr. Stock?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Hargit?
Yes. All right, thank you. Now we're going to our public comment. Please keep your comments addressed to council under 4 minutes.
I come prepared.
That's right. You got 4 minutes. I'm going to put you right on the clock right now.
Kevin Powell, 1567 Swigert. I come to really talk about the legislation that got pulled. So thank you again for asking for time on
Hold on a
that.
second.
Kevin, I can't hear you.
Sorry.
No, we're gonna let them go ahead and.
All right.
Yeah.
No, I'm not even resetting it.
Once again, Kevin Powell,
Thanks,
1567 Swigert. Like I said, I come here to talk about the legislation you guys pulled, and thanks to Mr. Fetterman for asking time for that. I think we will have a good product. I just think we need more community involvement on that. One of the other things I really wanted to ask about is, at the last meeting, you guys talked about hiring another street person to help work because of lack of labor and people on vacation and stuff like that. I was going to ask, and I guess Brian, so I can ask him, did you guys look at using outside flagging firms? And this is a huge benefit. You may pay a little bit more per hour than you're going to pay your employees, but where this comes into play is you don't have them on the hook for your 2,080 hours a year. You're not paying them all the time. You use them when you need them. The other thing that's nice is they come with all their equipment, and the big thing is the city takes in liability. If you have our guys out there flagging, now you got our skilled labor doing, I would say it's non-skilled labor, but they're flagging, running paddleboards, and where they could be doing the ditching or whatever else that is. And then the other thing is if they cause an accident, if they tell 2 people to go and they hit, the city's on the hook for that liability. If you're using an AWP or a right safety and something happens in an accident, they're on the hook for it. Their insurance takes care of it. It doesn't come back on the city. So that's something I just suggest maybe look at. It'd save us some costs on manpower and it'd get more work done on our end because our guys, instead of flagging, once again, they're actually doing work.
I don't know.
Just a comment.
I mean, when you guys flag sometimes, if you're cleaning a ditch or something, it's not like a road shut down. So I don't know if you've looked into it.
But usually those are moving work zones and they follow you.
Oh, I know how it works.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, is it, I don't know, it's something that you'll have to look into. It's something that I'm sure you have looked into it.
Kind of did, and it was $900 a day.
Well, we're paying $300.
I call it, that's what they told me.
All right, well, I can get you some information if you want.
Great.
Well, I think, yeah, the need wasn't, it wasn't just we were short on flaggers.
Right.
I mean, we got a lot of work for the
I
men
just
to
want-
do, and filling vacations and filling time off and those kind of things.
Right, and I'm not saying not hire, I'm just going off of what you said, because now during the project, you gotta have people out there flagging,
Yeah.
and then you're lacking people to do the work, but this way you still have the people to do the work and you can have people flagging.
No, but I want to be clear, it wasn't that we wanted, that we talked about adding 2 because we need more guys for flagging. It was adding 2 because we need more guys in the service department. Okay, and that was just one of that's one of the times that we need them. Because if it was only flagging, yeah.
Well, that's the beauty of the contractual service, you use them when you need them.
No, I understand, but you get what I'm saying.
I
We need them for more than just flagging.
I'm just trying to offer a solution to one party.
And I appreciate that.
All right, any other comments? All right, move into our legislation. Again, we have 2 first readings, 1 second, no third or pending. Resolution 21-R-43, Kelly.
A resolution authorizing New Franklin to enter into an agreement with North Star Asphalt for the addition of certain roads to the New Franklin 2021 paving project and declaring that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon passage.
I'd like to make a motion to waive the 3 reading rule.
Second.
For a second, roll call, please.
Mr. Fetterman?
Yes.
Mr. Hawk?
Yes.
Ms. Norris?
Yes.
Mr. Stock?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Hargit?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes. I'd like to make a motion that we pass resolution number 21R43.
Second.
There's a second, any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Fetterman?
Yes.
Mr. Hawk?
Yes.
Ms. Norris?
Yes.
Mr. Stock?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Hargit?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
All right, that passes 7-0. Move to resolution number 21-R-44, Kelly.
A resolution authorizing New Franklin to renew membership in the Public Entities Pool of Ohio, PEP, and to enter into an agreement with Summit Insurance Agency to be the local representative and with Burnham and Flower of Ohio as the member marketing and service, and with York Risk Pooling as the administrator/underwriter for the purpose of providing liability insurance and property damage coverage for New Franklin, and declaring that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon passage.
This resolution is.
You mentioned the amendment, right?
As amended.
Oh, as amended.
This resolution is signed to the Finance Committee. We move to waive the 3 readings on Resolution 21R44 as amended.
Second roll call, please.
Mr. Hawk?
Yes.
Ms. Norris?
Yes.
Mr. Stock?
Yes.
Mr. Cotts?
Yes.
Mr. Hargit?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones? Mr. Fetterman?
Yes.
We move to adopt Resolution 21R44 as amended.
First, second, any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Hawk?
Yes.
Ms. Norris?
Yes.
Mr. Stock?
Yes.
Mr. Cotts?
Yes.
Mr. Hargit?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones? Mr. Fetterman?
Yes.
All right, thank you. That passes 7-0. All right. We got our second reading of Resolution 21-R-42.
Yes, at this time, and well said, but I think in fairness and for comfort, we will keep it moving. And so we'll put out a request for proposals and see what we get back, and then we'll try to come back to council once we have some consensus on who we think the best choice would be. So with that, I would withdraw 21R42.
All right. R42 is officially withdrawn. No third or pending. Moving to the mayor's report.
Well, fireworks.
Yeah, we just had some a little bit ago.
Saturday, August 14th. Okay, so I don't know. That's I think that's the worst kept secret in Portage Lakes. The city, I should notice, make sure everybody knows, we have no control over that. We don't sponsor the fireworks. We don't do the fireworks. We support the fireworks in terms of our safety forces, but it's the Portage Lakes Fireworks Association that does the fireworks. They shoot them off from the Portage Lake State Park because of COVID. ODNR was not permitted to issue any permits until after the beginning of June. And by the time they were able to issue permits, apparently all the people that shoot off fireworks were booked. It looks like, Saturday, August 14th. Looks like the date.
For sure.
That's for sure?
Yeah.
So that's what we're told. So I wanted to, so that's what we're hearing, and the city will do everything we can to support that as well, as usual. Trash aggregation. We are at the end of our second 5-year renewal with Republic. We had an initial 5 years, 2011 to 2015. That was extended 5 years in 2016. Expires at the end of this year. I've talked with Terry Thompson. He reached out, said he was going to send a proposal. I don't have one yet from him as far as an extension. I also was contacted by Kimball, and those are the 2 major players, I guess, and wanted to know if we were going to do a request for proposal on that. You may be aware if you follow the news, Green just went through this. And, they flipped. I think Barberman flipped last time around. Consensus at council. Does it make sense to get proposals from both of these companies?
Absolutely.
Okay, I assumed it would, so with that I will. Is there anyone else that we should be reaching out to besides those 2?
Waste
management. Waste management. Well, we'll do a request for proposal. We'll get it out. Okay. All right. Okay. The Tudor House. Music night. We had the first music night. And it was decently well attended, I guess. 60, 70 people. I guess there were a couple votes.
Well, it rained at the beginning, so that probably.
And that stops a lot of people.
Yeah, the weather forecast was bad, wasn't it? But I think, it's a good start.
But it did turn out really nice. I think the band did a nice job, and people that were there enjoyed it, and people that stayed for the entertainment, because the rain lasted 10 minutes, maybe, and it wasn't hard, so, yeah. Good. Number 1.
Good, good, that's a start.
It's a
Well,
start.
we'll follow that next Tuesday with Angels in the Outfield. I think that was the winner. So we'll have movies on the lawn out there. And then I think we're starting at 8:30. Hopefully it's dark enough. We will have a popcorn truck. And I think we're gonna, a slushy truck, or that's next Tuesday.
I was gonna move on Tuesday.
Yeah, our nights are gonna all be Tuesdays. Yeah, Tuesdays, first are the alternating Tuesdays, every other week. So we'll have something on the website and Facebook page. Yeah, I think we get the slushy thing and the popcorn people. And you're always invited to bring your own stuff. Bring a cooler if you want. But we will have that happen, and we'll do that through July and August as well. We'll have music and movies all 3 days, all 3 months. And then the 4th of July is coming up. It's going to be on the 4th of July. But we've always been able to use the 4th of July because fireworks is never on the 4th of July. And we had a rousing event 2 years ago. And then we had nothing last year because of COVID. And we're back, including the pie baking contest. We'll be back. All right, so that'll be back. And we're just going to do a good old-fashioned 4th of July from noon to 4.
I want to be a judge this year.
I was thinking the same.
Absolutely.
I'm looking for a judge. We're going to ask the judges from Barber to come out again and see if they'll come out. But we're going to need a 3rd judge. So I don't know. Well, tell me if you want to volunteer. Maybe you're the guy. All right. And Summit E-Waste. We heard from them a possible recycle opportunity. So I've reached out to them already, and I told them we're going to get with them and talk, look at date or dates, see exactly how much they can do and what they can do. So it's another option for recycling that we'll be able to do right here in the community.
We had e-cycling back in April. How did that go?
My understanding went well. I can't remember, I wasn't there, but, we had good participation. I don't know exactly the numbers. It was TVs and those kind of things. It was electronics.
Yeah.
These guys seem to think that they'll take some of the stuff that they wouldn't take.
It's good.
They'll take the computers and they bring the computer and they'll take the hard drive out of it and smash the hard drive right in front of you. So, that's part of what they offer. So, I don't know if they'll take tires yet, so we'll work on tires. But I've been following up with them. We'll get something scheduled. And that is all I have.
All right, thank you.
Oh,
One more.
no, it's not. Cumber Road. It's still out there, and we're getting closer. And we don't have a final. We've been every oar in the water. And Representative Gonzalez, that has made it their hit rate. So that's been recommended, Humble Road. And I'm told that, that'll be a whole different source of funding than the kind of funding that we're talking about already. But we've been trying to go after that. Apparently those appropriations have to be approved by the end of September. So I don't know what will happen in that regard, but we're working on Humble Road. And one way or another, we're going to get that bridge repaired.
Is that mayor? Does he?
You were there.
Try too?
Last time we were on.
Does he try at all? Their mayor?
Honestly, no. In fairness,
is he aware of that?
In fairness, I had a nice meeting with Mayor Zeta and with Robert Fowler, their city manager, and they expressed appropriate concern. They asked me to try not to have everybody in New Franklin hate them too much, and that they're trying to do the best they can. I told them I would express that to everybody. But we had a cordial meeting with them. And, I'm still optimistic we'll get it done this year. That's all.
All right, thanks, Paul. Guess Susan's not with us tonight.
Susan is at a state conference. That's why she's out up in Sandusky. I can't remember the acronym, but it's the accounting clerk, finance people. If we did announce, we put it on our website, but we got one of the auditors awards, and we didn't even know about it. And there were only, I sent you guys, I can't remember the number, something like 19 in all of Summit County, or even less than that, maybe 19 in the state. And a clean audit, again. When the award comes in, we'll make a bigger deal out of it, but that's a major deal. And the auditors were in this week, so they're already working on next year's, but another clean audit, that's the third one. That's pretty impressive.
All Rumpke waste.
Sorry?
Rumpke for getting them, are you just gonna put it out there?
Oh, okay, right. Yeah, we'll do it for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll add that.
Is it in community?
All right.
All right, old
Oh,
business.
David,
Yes.
there's one other thing, the shredding day. It's June 26th.
Yes, the shredding day.
That's very public. That's very important.
Yes, thank you. That is,
It's June 26th from, I think.
I got it in the other room, I'm sorry, I don't bring it out.
10 to 1, I think.
Yeah.
I recall it's on our.
Starts at 9 o'clock.
It's a Saturday.
It's a Saturday.
Yeah, and it's a regular routine, and we'll direct traffic in here, and there'll be people here to, well, we don't have to be quite as hands-off, but we will, to unload the trucks if we need to. Yeah, that's always a monster day. Thank you, Kelly, for reminding us. And we'll make sure we throw that up on the website. We're gonna find a
It
place.
is on the website.
Okay,
I
to get more people to the app.
All right, old business, thanks.
I have a couple things. For old business, pickleball. I see the caution tape around the proposed pickleball court.
Update, Brian?
Sorry. You should have left when you had a chance.
Second coat went on today, so I got the
How many
lovely
coats?
course done, so next is tape it out and paint it,
Yay.
and then the nets.
Success.
So all the equipment is there, it's just a matter of getting it installed.
Getting it taped out and painted now is next. I mean, that's as smooth as I can get it.
And I think we have Rob to thank for that and Andrea, am I right? For the pickleball?
Yeah. Robert's the
Mhm.
pickleball of the.
Robert is an ambassador.
The ambassador of pickleball
The man to
for
be.
And that's the
Ohio,
reason we have pickleball.
for the world.
He's been extremely helpful to us.
No, he's a real asset to the associations and the promotion of it, and very much appreciated, and people
would not have
really
been
look to
without
Robert for advice and direction.
Thank you.
That's all I have for old business.
How about new business?
New business, incident reports on the webpage and for the newspapers have been lacking for the last more than a month, and I understand it's about some software upgrade. Are we close to getting that?
I checked about a week ago on it, they're working on it, I don't know if they've been able to correct that yet. We switched our CAD system to be consistent with the county, to Tyler New World, and that's where the glitch was, in the download part of that. So, I know they're aware of it, I know they're working on it, I don't know if they've corrected it yet, I'll find out.
Concerned about cyber attack, ransomware. We've seen in the last week or so a number of major corporations that have been held hostage and have had to pay big ransom. And I know if we get held hostage, we're not going to be paying out millions of dollars, hopefully, but there's still that issue. Are we in a position that we're pretty well protected? Have we checked with computer experts to make sure that we're as safe as we can be?
Yes. As a matter of fact, we reviewed it yet again when we had a variety of techs in when we were switching the dispatch over. But I had that specific conversation. There are, and this is, I'm way out of my field when it comes to cyber world, but I've been assured, and our people in administrative staff are comfortable with the software that's installed, that they feel will reliably protect us in that regard. There's, I suppose, always more you can purchase, but our consultants tell us that they feel we're secure and we're safe.
Okay, good. Speaking of administrative staff, are we all back in the building now?
No, not yet.
He said he was gonna talk to the mayor about it after the meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm glad you asked.
Yeah, no, but we're in flux on that. So I'm working on that. I've still got to talk with them and see what's up. I mean, our workload is good, but I think the comfort level is good. And I haven't checked in since last time I talked to you what's going on in the county, for instance. I don't know if they brought anybody back.
Yeah, we're having,
I know everything's live again, but I'm talking about the administrative offices, the fiscal office, and then are there all their people back full time?
we're at the court, we're running and we're starting our help desk back up at the probate court. Everybody was there today. There weren't, they're moving forward with all of our in-person hearings now, so.
I'm not trying to keep them out.
I think Akron or Cleveland just announced this week that everybody's back to work.
Everybody's back,
Yeah.
So
I expect that to happen.
Okay. And then, I know maybe this is old business, but it's new. There's a severe blood shortage and, right now, and it is expected to continue for a while. So, please, if you can or if you choose to donate blood, there is another blood drive at Gather at the Lakes on July 8th. I have to applaud, Gather at the Lakes for doing this on a regular, consistent basis, having blood drives and having it here in New Franklin, and they've always been successful with it. You can book your appointment now. If you donate, you get a chance at a year's worth of gas.
Wow.
For donating.
That is excellent. And what day is the donation?
On Thursday, July 8th. And it runs from 1 till 6, I think. So if you're inclined, please sign up, go to redcrossblood.org. And I'm done. Somebody else's turn.
I have a question, Paul. We received a text about a property on Daly Road. Has anything been addressed for that property? Did you get that?
I didn't get a text.
No, you were, it was, Barry that applied first, and he said.
Oh, Barry was a preemptive issue, yeah.
And he sent it to all of us?
Right.
Yeah, I can't remember the specific problem.
They wanted the property cleaned up?
Is it abandoned?
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, we did kick that to Barry.
So I guess he hasn't heard back either then.
Okay.
I haven't heard back from anybody on it.
Okay.
From the adjoining owners, or I don't know if it's done or if it's.
No, it's still us.
Yeah, it's still there.
All right, I'll follow.
So leading off of that.
It's not the only one, I'm afraid. That's why I had to ask, you know.
And that kind of leads into what we need a property for, right? We still don't have anything for property maintenance. I mean, that's the most I get, most emails, phone calls, is for property maintenance.
It's tough business. We had that board, and the board really didn't have any teeth.
Right.
And I'm not sure if, how you give the board teeth, quite frankly. They don't have well, what we have done is we've been much, much more aggressive in litigation. And we've got several cases pending right now against the frequent flyers. And we've had success in a number of them. And then some of them are relapsed. But we always get an order, I can think of 2 or 3 right now. So we always get as part of the order, a standing order, that we're able to come back in and do it again, clean up again and bill the taxes. So Daly stumped me because Barry has another one he's just sent me today that he wants to go after, and we've been doing it. So we're chasing them that way. I don't disagree. We need some revisions in our zoning code, and not just there, not just in that part of it. And that's been part of the larger discussion in terms of consultants, et cetera. Is this the time right now to do a full-scale revamp of the zoning code? Or do we want to take a little bit better look and see what we're doing in some of our areas and then try to do it all at once? So we're aware of the deficiency. There's not that many tools in the bag, as you might expect. And then there's a lot of people that, that still say the worst thing ever happened out of Arizona. Okay? I live out here, I came here, if I wanna have, something in my front yard, I should have it in my front yard. Who you tell me? You know what I mean? So there's a strong difference of opinion even when you get into it. One man's trash is another man's treasure, So anyway, I don't mean, we're doing the best we can with it under the circumstances, but it is something that's still on the radar. I think we're gonna have to keep looking at how we can tighten it up. I do think that the board is if we can put something together, it's a decent tool for the people that really want to cooperate. Maybe they're just not aware, and maybe we can have our volunteers help with cleanup and that kind of thing. So I think there's value to it. We just got to get it put back in place.
New business? Do they have any questions for us? Anything we discussed this evening?
On the property maintenance code, why can't you fine them? And then you make it a daily or a weekly fine. I mean, there's a financial incentive there for them to fix the problem.
Yeah. It's the.
That's your key.
No, well, I understand. I got to look at the code again. In terms of the authority, for the zoning inspector to issue a specific fine. No, I understand. I mean, whether our code permits that.
Well, it'd just be a code change.
Well, I understand. Yeah.
But there is a softer approach to that. Just, if you look at the 4-H community, they're always looking for volunteer projects. A lot of times those kids don't have anything to do. And by reaching out to the shareholders, the stakeholders, and saying, hey, we have a group of kids that need to get credit for doing a project. Are you okay with them coming to the property?
Yeah.
Once we have consent agreements on both sides of the debate, then we can move forward. Then we don't have to have a heavy-handed approach to problem solving as the first step. Then if they say, no, we're not gonna do it, then we bring it to you.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't disagree. That's why I mentioned the possibility of maybe a volunteer component for the people that actually want the help. It's not the downside of the fine. The problem is, so you fine them, well, they don't pay it. Well, then what? Well, they have to pay it. Huh?
You assess the taxes.
Well, I get it. It goes to the taxes, but you follow me? But the property's still a mess, okay? I got one sitting on my desk right now where we've been mowing for about 3 or 4 years, okay? And we assess the taxes, okay? And nothing's happening. All right, it's the same as a fine, okay? So what's next? Well, what's next is we're probably gonna file suit on that one. You know what I'm saying? So the fine will help the guy who really wants to clean up and takes a fine seriously, but the guy who doesn't care, he's just not gonna pay the fine.
Bob.
There was on Facebook, Manchester Community Page Service page that might go along with what he said there about people in the community who are willing to reach out and help their neighbors, whatever that looks like. Maybe directing them there might be the first step. And second, is there any chance you can come on my property? I have like 10 acres over here.
Dude, you got to figure it out. Yeah, we'll be there.
Okay. Is that enough?
There's a maybe.
Thank you. I'll let Jim Scott do that.
Oh, okay. Anything else?
I think he should be a radio DJ though.
Yeah. His old voice.
Our announcer at all our events.
Thank you. I have one other thing real quick before we end this. Mr. Stocker, Ms. Grabson, are you expecting any major legislation for our next meeting? It's the one July 4th week, and we sometimes take that week off.
Not as we sit here. There's nothing that, sometimes things pop up. There's nothing that I can think of immediately.
I propose we skip the next meeting.
That'd be July 7th.
Is it the 7th?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm all for all
I don't
the
have a
meetings,
problem
but,
either
I mean,
way.
I don't care either way. There's nothing pressing. I mean, if you're gonna be out of town or something.
Well, yeah, that's exactly why I want to be out of town, and I want to keep my record going, but, Mr. Meeting.
We'll be meeting.
I'm good either way, I would make that clear. I mean, I defer to council, and it's council's meeting, it's not my meeting. So whatever council wants to do, I'm comfortable with it.
It just, we don't have anything going on.
I second.
Yeah, I got a second.
Yeah, a second.
If nothing's going on, I can't see a problem with it. But if there's something important.
Yeah, but we don't know that. See, that's the thing, we don't know.
Well, that's just it. I know.
Well, Jim, your record's messed up, because we will be meeting on the 7th.
I won't be here.
Nice try.
Yeah, you
Yeah, give it a shot.
I mean, you could have, if it was on the
You can
4th, then you
zoom
would
in.
have.
I know. Originally, I was thinking that, but, yeah.
I still think that you should have that option.
All right, Paul, please tell me no executive session.
You know, one thing I can be sure of is if we canceled it, there'd be three things that came up.
They do that, of course.
Now, that we didn't cancel it, watch and see.
Yeah.
No legislation.
I'll make some stuff up. All right, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you much. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you July 7th.